Dude! So this, my friends, is the laptop that started the channel. Well, I guess not this specific one, but this model. This is the Aspire 3680 from our good friends at Acer. So one of the fun things about this laptop, and when I say fun, I mean not fun at all, is the fact that it was slow, largely because it only had 512 megs of RAM. Yes, I used to make videos with 512 megs of RAM in Vista Basic. Now remember, after a little while, I did work on upgrading it. So the very first time I pretty much ever worked on a computer is when I upgraded this laptop to, I think it was 1.5 gigs of RAM at the time, which made a massive, massive difference. Okay, it's charging. Did you hear how loud that fan is? Oh, it works. A Celeron M CPU, single core at 1.86 gigahertz and 512 megs of RAM with a blistering fast Intel 945 GM Express chipset. A speed demon this was not. However, I actually was able to edit video on this.
What camera did you use to record video?
So I initially shot on this Kodak. It was like this point and shoot. It was really terrible. And then a little while after I started the channel, maybe 6 months later, I got the Sanyo Zacti CG10, which was, this is the Sanyo. Is this supposed to be mystery tech? Because this is too much for mystery tech. So this ridiculous camera was what I used to shoot videos for probably 2 years when I first started. So even though it looks ridiculous, this actually was pretty solid. It was much better than the flip cameras of the day, as not only did it shoot 720p video, but it also had a pretty decent zoom. So if I hit record, all right, Ken, you are now live on the Sanyo Zacti CG10. Look at that smooth zoom. One of the cool parts about this camera is that you actually had a flip out screen, which was really cool for back in 2009. The only problem was that the microphones are on the back, so it sounds much better when you flip the camera around. But this is a really legit little camera. In fact, you know, I actually got this because Marquez bought this. That was the beginning of the camera war. He did a video on this. I was like, that sounds dope. So I got it for like 150 bucks at Best Buy. How much was this today?
17 bucks.
$17? You know what? For 17 bucks, you actually, I think, could do a lot worse than this. There's some dude's pictures on this.
Oh.
Okay, I feel uncomfortable. I'm gonna stop watching that now. So one of the fun facts about my old laptop is that it actually had ports, unlike laptops of today. So we have a modem, an optical drive with DVD support. We have USB-A ports, we have Ethernet, you've got VGA, a PS2 port, and you also have an SD card reader, which I hope actually works. You know what I want to do? I want to upgrade this with some more RAM. I want to probably put like an SSD in it, see if I can run Windows 10, and then I'm going to try to edit a video, shoot and edit a video with the Zacti. So now let's get a little bit of upgrading action for my laptop. So the first thing is I'm definitely going to replace this battery, which is, well, not seeing the best of days. So that by itself, once it's installed, it looks a little goofy, but should give us kind of good battery life. As part of what I'm doing here, I'm also going to be upgrading this to Windows 10. Now, you can buy like the USB flash drive that has Windows already installed. However, I actually like to use the little tool that Microsoft includes. You can literally just download it from their site, and it will download Windows 10, the most up-to-date version, and you can burn it to a flash drive. So I'm kind of excited to see exactly how far I can upgrade this. I bought a few different things which hopefully will work. I feel like so many of the videos that we do these days of like upgrading older systems, we just won't be able to do in the future because so little is upgradable. So this, my friends, this is the 512 megabytes of DDR2 that I used to work with this laptop. However, we were able to order off of Amazon 4 gigs of crucial DDR2, which should be much, much sort of healthier, especially given that, well, everything takes up more RAM now. So on this side, we have another door, which should give us access to our hard drive. So inside this little bracket, we have our 5400 RPM 80 gigabyte hard drive. Now we're going to be replacing this with something which by modern standards isn't all that impressive. It is a 840 EVO, it's a 120 gig SSD. You know the best part about this is that obviously I'm doing this much more for nostalgia than any kind of like practical use. But this laptop costs almost nothing these days, and all of these upgrades are incredibly affordable. I mean, even something like a 120 gig SSD, I mean, this didn't even exist when the laptop came out, and now it costs like, what, like less than 20 bucks at Micro Center? Like, it's a super affordable upgrade. And there we go. So now we have 4 gigs of RAM as opposed to half a gig of RAM, a 120 gig SSD as opposed to an 80 gig SSD. We have our beefier battery. But one of the cool parts about this is that we also have a little surprise. So on the side here, we have an express card slot. Now this is actually a super useful connector because you could add all kinds of accessories inside this little guy. Oh wait, oh no. Well, that's not the right size. So this is actually not the correct card, so I guess I'll have to come back and see if I can find another one, but that's a really easy upgrade. And I also need to look into getting a better Wi-Fi card if I can find one. So let's plug in our USB flash drive and see if this guy actually wants to boot up. That's not a great sign. Nothing's happening. I don't know if this is the problem, but this RAM slot is super finicky. Okay. Put the original RAM in for a second and see if that is going to fix things. Okay, fan, optical drive. Okay, it immediately comes up, so it is definitely a memory issue. Okay, so after cannibalizing a couple of older laptops, I was able to get 2 gigs of DDR2 together, which is booting with the system. So I think from here, we can just try to get Windows to actually to boot up for us. Theoretically, this is capable of running Windows 10, and there we go. So we have 2 gigs of RAM, which the minimum is 1 gig. Now our processor and especially our graphics are very much on the lower end, so it's gonna be slow. I'm just gonna keep waiting until it actually hits the screen and stops just showing me the logo, but I'm sure that'll be fine. It's not like it's gonna take all night to install Windows on this thing. That's definitely not gonna happen. It'll come up any minute now.
Unfortunately, this didn't go quite according to plan. After a couple months of on and off troubleshooting this project, I happened across a tweet from Nathan Sivrite, who happened to have gotten the exact same Aspire 3680 in to do a video on.
The CPU, it's basically, you got those widgets back in Windows Vista? It's like on 100% all the time, nearly.
You know what? I think you've made up my mind here. I'm gonna put Vista back on the laptop, and that's how I'm gonna finish the video. I'm just gonna give up on 10. It's not gonna do anything.
So after a lot of work to make not a lot of progress, I finally have the PC pretty much up and running. So I've got a fresh copy of Vista here, and the next step is to see what actually works. Oh, do I have to launch Internet Explorer 7 right now? Oh, it's loading. Something's happening. Oh, it works. I mean, it looks a little broken. That's fine though. You know, something funny, even though the CPU sits at 100% all the time, we're not maxing out our 2 gigs of RAM, and the SSD actually feels reasonably snappy. So I put up documents or something. I mean, this doesn't feel that far behind. So now my challenge is very simple. Goodbye 8K red camera, and hello 720p Sanyo Zacti CG10. I have spent, I don't know how many hours the last 2 days trying to get this project to work. So I've run into a few issues. First of all, the Zacti shoots in H.264, a very modern codec, especially by 2009 standards, and a codec which actually was not officially supported inside Vista. Now mind you, Microsoft does have a codec pack which will work with MOV files in H.264. However, it 404s and I couldn't track it down anywhere on the internet. Fine, I thought. Why don't I just handbrake it, get it into a couple of other formats? I tried a wide range, and WMV was the closest to working, no problem. Handbraked it, brought it back over to the computer. While it kind of plays back, what it doesn't do is work inside Movie Maker. Straight up, it chops up into a bunch of random chunks. It'll play it for a second and then crash. And every time I try to reset something or re-import things, I'm literally sitting around for 5 minutes waiting for it to process. So without further ado, let me introduce to you a 2009 Austin video shot by a very grumpy 2020 Austin, or 2019 Austin. I don't know how long it's gonna take to actually finish this video. This is the brand new Acer Aspire 3680, and with a whopping single core processor, 512 megabytes RAM, which has been upgraded to 2 gigabytes, as well as an incredibly sleek, as well as a wide variety of ports. So if I open up our optical drive bay, of course this is the future of media, Acer is truly innovative when it comes to powerful Windows Vista home basic laptops. You'll also see a CPU meter which pretty much permanently sits at 100%, merely showing you the incredible power of the 3680. When you look at the profile, you'll see that this is an incredibly sleek and thin laptop.
There's a lot to like with something which has this much power in such a tiny package. Now yes, some might argue that dual core is the future, and to them I say, ha! What mere future are you living in where we need more than one core? Real talk though, this is what I used to start the channel. And while yes, by today's standards, it is certainly not powerful, it really wasn't even powerful by like 2007 standards, but the important thing was, it was good enough that I could actually start the channel on. And realistically, if you were considering starting a channel today, something like your smartphone is absolutely so much more capable than this laptop ever was. I'm sorry that you had to watch this video, which I edited in Windows Movie Maker.